So in 2020, I ran for everybody in 2020, and then this year I'm running for everybody in 2021. I'm right now averaging 400 miles every single year. That's also an average of 400 first responders every single year, officers and firefighters. It's unfortunate, but I love being able to do these miles, let people learn that there's a lot more first responders passing away than you would think. And we need to always thank our first responders whenever we see them.
Welcome to the Greatness Ignited podcast, where we have conversations about the greatness of others so that you can recognize the greatness in you. My name is Barry Overton, and I have been studying greatness for the last 7 years, and it is taking my career to new heights. And now me and a few of the successful people that I have had the honor of interviewing are coming together to ignite your greatness and light the fire within. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Greatness Ignited podcast. This is season 2. My name is Barry Overton. I'm the author of Ignite Your Greatness. And I created this podcast because I really wanted to share that there is everyday greatness, ordinary people that are doing extraordinary things with their gifts and talents. And we're going to have some conversations today, but the podcast is really about just having conversations with people about the greatness in them so you can realize the greatness in you. And today we have a very special guest. I got to tell you, I am excited about this. This is my youngest guest to date that I've had on the podcast. This young man is doing some amazing things. I can tell you at 10 years old, he started his own nonprofit and benefiting heroes that have fallen in the line of duty, as well as heroes that have been injured in the line of duty. And not only with the nonprofit is he raising funds for them, but he's doing something else that is extraordinary that takes so much commitment. I'm going to let him tell you about that here in just a minute. But I want you to, when you're listening to his story and when you're looking at the mannerisms of how he speaks, remember, he's only 12 years old right now. But the young man is doing some amazing things. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Zechariah Cartledge. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I am doing great. And again, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to be here. And I got to tell you, I've been a fan of yours for probably the last 2 years since you started running for heroes. I've been watching you. I share it with some of the other police Facebook groups that I'm in because you are such an inspiration, especially in a time when police have taken a bad rap nationally. But to see someone that has so much support, so much commitment, and at such a young age, and is so inspiring to so many people.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And that's one of my main things running for heroes, other than really making the families know that they're a fallen hero and never forgotten. I want people to learn about police officers and firefighters, what they do in the community every single day. And I want everybody to know in the whole world, just more than 99.9% of our officers and firefighters out there are incredible people. Just a few people that really push it down. But, I hope people like me can inspire other youth to learn about first responders in a positive way. So in the future, they can realize that first responders are incredible people.
I got to tell you, every time I listen to you speak, I watched you, I think maybe a couple of days ago, and you were getting ready to do a mile run. I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag as to one of the things that you're doing, but you do a mile run in dedication of a fallen hero around your school track. But I've always been impressed with the running and the commitment to it. But I got to tell you, I listened to you and you were probably talking for 5 minutes about this person that you never met, but you would never know that when you're talking about him. So it's obvious that, a lot of times we just see what's on camera, but there's a lot of work that goes into getting to that point of being able to run that mile and speaking about that officer. Well, let me ask you this. What does your day consist of?
So when I wake up, my day consists of making sure I get a little bit of exercise. I exercise at night, but during the day, knowing that it's summer, I'm really just relaxing all day long. So I always like to get outside, ride my bike early in the morning, see some of the nature, and come back home. After I get back home, I usually just hang out. People ask me all the time, "Do you still have time to be a kid?" I gotta say, especially during summer break, I have all day until the runs that I can focus on just being a kid and enjoying myself. But then coming around 4 or 5 o'clock. I start doing the notes for fallen first responders I'm running for that night. And then I start studying the facts of the people I'm running for. Once I start studying the facts and doing the notes, that's when I know it's time. It's go time in my head to start focusing on the runs, doing the best as possible, because every single run's different, but that doesn't mean that any other run is less important. So I always focus as hard as I can, study as hard as I can, and then I go out there, I do the miles with other people. I run, and then I speak, obviously, as well, before and after the run. And then I come back home, and that's basically what I do every single day. But even though maybe that seems like a little bit too much for other kids, I really love being able to do this nonprofit. It really teaches me stuff. It teaches me things that I will be able to learn in the future. And, I also get to learn, number one thing, first responders are incredible people. And I can see that because every single time I go up to that run, go out to a new run, I have officers and firefighters that come out, some that are even almost like family to us now. So I love being able to do this mission, and I still have time in between to also enjoy myself being a kid and also relaxing during summer break. So that's my daily routine, and right now that's going to be the same for quite a bit.
Yeah, that's quite a bit that you have on your schedule. But one thing that I've noticed is that you are very committed to it. I want to kind of take you back though. What was the moment that happened that inspired you to want to be able to give back in this way?
So about 3 years ago, I ran in a race called the Tunnel to Towers 5K. They are a national organization, nonprofit, and really founded after a 9/11 hero who lost his life, and his brother actually started this nonprofit. I was in about the second grade or third grade, and I loved running. I was running in cross country since first grade, and I really had a passion for running. After I was doing locally 5Ks every single week, and I just picked the Tunnel to Towers 5K because it was available and it was on my schedule. So I went to that run, and during the run, something just touched me. I was very inspired by all these first responders. They were running in their full gear during this whole entire 3-mile run, at least 25 pounds of gear on every single one of these firefighters and officers. That really kind of touched me, and I was so young. I was very curious about what this nonprofit and foundation was. So I looked up more about it, and when I found out it was about 9/11, I really wanted to learn more about 9/11. I watched TV documentaries, and that really started letting me know how much first responders do for our community. So about a year later, I actually was able to raise money for Tunnel to Towers. After I raised money for Tunnel to Towers, I wanted to keep going further, and that's when I started running. That's when I branched off into my own nonprofit, running for all fallen first responders who lose their life in line of duty. Later, I also started giving grants to the injured as well.
I got to tell you, that is truly amazing in itself. But to start it at such an early age is what's so impressive. That you felt something at an early age, because I can tell you many times as adults we have a passion for something, but we don't take the steps forward. And it's clear that your parents are very supportive of what you're doing as well. I'm sure that makes it a whole lot easier to be able to get some of these things done. I know your dad is probably right there in the background, and typically that's where he's at, is in the background. You're in the forefront, but I'm sure you have so much support from your parents and other family and friends.
Yeah, believe it or not, he's not in the background. He just really says, do the best you can, and I trust you. So, I've gotten so used to it that I can really just come in and do these. But, especially like you said, my dad, he is the number one supporter I would ever have. When I told him the idea, he was just like everybody else. He was thinking, there's so much first responders who lose their life. There's no way that he would be able to do this, because I've done to date 925 miles in the last 3 years for fallen first responders. But even though he didn't have 100% belief in me, because that's so much miles for a then 9-year-old, he still loved my idea, and he stuck on to it. He this is a full volunteer nonprofit. And I can tell you right now, he does more work on Running for Heroes than he does during his actual job. He's so dedicated towards it. Because all I really do, I'm a kid. I can't moderate the whole page. All I do is I run and I speak and I travel. I'm the face of the nonprofit and I'm the founder because I started it. But behind the scenes, all the moderating goes into my dad working hard. He also acquired many board members. We have 21 board members on the board, and they also come in and make sure the page is running smoothly, and they make all the ideas with my dad on the front line. Tonight, we're actually doing our next board meeting, and in this board meeting, we're also going to be finding out our next grant recipient of $10,000, and also many other things that can make Running for Heroes better. So there's a huge team behind this. My family, my mom, my sister as well, they're incredible supporters, and I cannot thank for a better supported back team and family.
Having that type of support to be able to get something like this off the ground and really take off the way that it has. So it's great that you have that. For those that are listening on this podcast that have never seen you run before, if you want to do me a favor and just kind of take them from the time that you go live on Facebook, take them through the process, because I know that you talk about the officer, you say a prayer, and you run. If you want to kind of just take them through the process of the 1 mile run.
So I get my flag ready. I make sure the light on the top of my flag pulls on. I make sure the flag is tight. I make sure everybody's ready. I make sure me and my dad make sure everybody's quiet because it's still a tribute run. We want to make sure nobody's talking in the background. And then I am ready, and then he pushes, my dad does this, and then when he does this, that means we're live. So then I start talking about the fallen first responder I'm running for. I start off actually by saying, hello, everybody. It's Zechariah. As many of you know, I am dedicating my running for all fallen first responders who lose their life in the line of duty. And tonight I'm running for this fallen first responder. I will say information like who he is, what his rank was, like officer or deputy, whatever he was, what department he worked for, when he lost his life, his end watch, how he lost his life, his age, how long he served, and then if they were past military, their military experience, their family, who they left behind, and anybody else that may be a part of their bio. To find out when we have to run again, we look on 2 sites. For officers and U.S. Border Patrol members, we look off the ODMP or Officer Down Memorial page. On there, they update whenever an officer or U.S. Border Patrol member, because it's also considered an officer, loses their life in the line of duty. And it's considered line of duty, and it's proven to be line of duty. And that's when we know if they add one, we trust it as much as possible. And for firefighters, we look on the USFA. They actually have an LODD site on there for firefighters, and we look up there whenever one is lost. That's on the main thing on that page. But if you look up USFA, line of duty death firefighter page, they have a whole page for all fallen firefighters too. So those are 2 sites we trust whenever one is lost, and that's when we know we have to run again. Basically, right after I start the run, I do 7 laps around what was then school. I'm in middle school now, but when I was in elementary school, that was my school. I do 7 laps around there, around that track club, and as you see in that picture, I'm joined by sometimes officers, patrol cars, and mounting up on it. If it's a local run, we have a lot, and maybe if it's a farther out run, maybe just a few. But I do 7 laps around that track loop. The second I'm done, I just say some final closing remarks. I do a moment of silence for however long he or she served. If it's less than 21 years of service, we do a 21-second moment of silence, just like the 21 gun salute. If it's more than 21 years of service, we do that much prayer time. And then right after that, we do a quick prayer after we're done with all the runs we're doing tonight, right at the end. And then I wrap it up by saying, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a safe rest of your night. Please watch over the family, and I pray God blesses you all. And then we cut it off. And then if I have another run, I get ready for that. I study up, I stretch, and I do the same thing over again. But I'm very dedicated towards this. I'm going to be doing this until I'm around 18, or I'm at a time where I have to, focus on other things as well. So I've been doing this since I'm 10. I'm 10, like it says down there. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. I plan to be doing it for as long as possible.
That is awesome. That was actually one of my questions is, what was the plan for the future in regards to it? So it's great to hear that you plan to do it until you're 18, and who knows, where you'll be at that point in regards to what you decide. I got another question though about your future. So obviously this is the fundraising aspect and your give back to the community. What do you see yourself doing as a career? Do you have any ideas in regards to what you want to do there?
Yeah, so first of all, I do want to actually push a little bit more on what I want to do in Running for Heroes in the future. So right now we're doing a $10,000 monthly grant. I plan to upgrade that grant as we get more donations. We also just, we don't usually do this, but we just met a person in Texas, in Houston, Texas, and she's actually the wife of a husband who lost his life in line to do last year. We talked with her all day. This was actually the day we went there this weekend was actually his birthday, which would have been his birthday. And unfortunately, right after all these ceremonies were done and we said bye to her, she got in this big car crash. She had to go to the hospital. So we raised $20,000 for her medical expenses in just the last 2 days. Like I said, we don't usually do that, but we went there, and that day she was with us the whole day, and she actually had a smile on her face one time because of us, because she hanged out with us. We really wanted to raise money for her so she can pay off insurance or anything she may need. But for the future, with Running for Heroes, that's what I plan to do, raise more money and do as much miles as possible, stay healthy and not break any bones, because that would be catastrophic if I had to take a few weeks off and have to catch up with all these miles, because on average, there's 2 added every single day. So I would be very behind if anything happens to my body. So I try to stay as healthy as possible. But in the future, lots of people ask me if I want to be a police officer or a firefighter. Actually, right now I plan to become a commercial pilot. I'm in flight school. I got a scholarship for it about a year ago. It's a 33-week-long course, and I'm doing all the weeks, and then I plan to do an FAA test. If I pass that, I can get into a local school in my area. But actually, right here, I have a whole flight simulator setup that I practice on every single day. So I really have lots of experience, and I plan. You can actually get your pilot's license when you're around 14 or so. So I plan to become a commercial pilot right now and get into the airline business when I'm older. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. Even though I can get my license when I'm 14, I'm only 12 years old. So you never know what's going to happen in the future. Maybe I'll become a police officer. Maybe I'll even work for the helicopter crew on a police department. You never know what's going to happen in the future, but we'll see where my future takes me.
Yeah, I was thinking police helicopter as you were talking about that. But man, I tell you, you never cease to amaze us here. That's amazing that, potentially you will likely have your pilot's license at 14. I have no doubts. That is such an awesome accomplishment. So congratulations for that. And so I'm sure that you get some great feedback from people around the country that have been inspired from you. What are some of the best feedback that stands out to you?
Definitely when the family see the runs every single night, because knowing that we're a somewhat big nonprofit, I love being able to get the family's feedback in just a few hours, maybe even a few minutes after the run. I love being able to see their comments saying that we're actually smiling because of your run and they appreciate it so much. That's my main hope with this nonprofit, is the family and the department see it and they know that there's people supporting them even outside their jurisdiction. And I really like when I get to see families and departments respond to my run, saying that they were smiling after that run, knowing that people are supporting them through the hard time they're going through. I also love being able to talk to past grant recipients. So I love being able to see pictures of how they're using the money, or if there's some catastrophically injured service members that we've given grants to. One of my favorite things to see is when they're able to walk again and they're able to actually stand up. When I get to see pictures of those, that really does touch my heart, and knowing that that grant helped them be able to get to that point. But, I really love being able to see comments saying, "Keep it up, Zechariah, you're doing amazing work." Without my supporters, I would not be able to do anything. Helping my family and all my followers, it really does keep me motivated to keep doing this more than I already am. So I'm really into this nonprofit throughout all the support. If anybody would like to support my page, they can go on runningforheroes.org. On there, they can donate. Also, it's running4heroes.org. On there, there's a donation button at the top, and they can donate to the page. We're also going to be, we're on a break right now, just because of how much people are buying these. But soon we're going to be back selling shirts, hats, and different things. Also in July, there's this shoe called the Z-Line shoe. made by Honor Respect, which is a shoe company. They made a shoe basically with a Z on the side and my logo on the back. So you can order that in July. So if you would like, and all the proceeds, the shirts and the shoe goes back to Running for Heroes. So if you ever would like to donate or just buy something and it'll also go back, then you could always do that and you can support Running for Heroes. But if you would like to do anything more than that, you can always apply for applications for board members. We don't do it as much as some other nonprofits do, but keep an eye on the page because we do applications every single year for board members that we would like to get added to the page. So if anybody would like to look at that in the future, please do, even though it may be quite a bit until our next applications. But just if anybody can't donate, you can just support on the page, comment on my runs, and just watch the page, support the families. But I love this supportive back nonprofit. So much people out there. I think it's more because I'm a kid. I think more people look to kids and adults with support. But no matter what, I think it's incredible, and I'm really appreciative of all the support.
There's greatness within you. We've all heard those words before, but do we truly believe it? I can tell you, it took me about 3 years of studying greatness before I realized there truly is greatness inside of me. And I wrote a book called Ignite Your Greatness that proves the theory that we all have greatness within us. And I take it a step further. Once I prove it to you, I tell you exactly how to ignite the fire within you and take your life to new heights. Get your copy of Ignite Your Greatness at igniteyourgreatness.com. Also available on Amazon. But, and I often talk about, in my book, I talk about dreaming, and I talk about the fact that I think the best dreamers on the planet are kids. And the reason I say that is because you probably think back when you were, say, 4 or 5 years old, and you dream, maybe you wanted to be a superhero, or maybe you wanted to be a baseball player. And in your mind at that age, it's very easy to believe in those things. And right now at 12 years old, and when you started this at 10 years old, it was probably easy for you to believe that you could do this. But I can tell you, as we become older and adults and life happens to us, we stop dreaming. So for me, it is great to see someone like you, because you're a great example of what dreaming looks like, and when you pursue and go after your dreams and turn it into reality. So once again, I just appreciate everything that you're doing, and you're just such an inspiration. I'm going to ask you just a couple of more. We're going to just have some fun questions here, and then we'll wrap this up. But you mentioned 925 miles that you've run so far, which is amazing, but it's so unfortunate because those are miles that you're having to run for a fallen officer or a fallen hero. And I remember when you started, you had to catch up, because I think you ran for the year that you were in, must have been like 2019, but were you also running for some officers that had passed away in 2018 as well?
Yeah, so at that point, I actually was running because back then I was still doing 5Ks. Because of my nonprofit, I don't do 5Ks anymore that much. I just focus on the 1 mile runs every night. But back in the first year, I was doing 1 mile runs and 5Ks every single week because I still love doing 5Ks. So I still wanted to honor somebody in our 5Ks as well. So I ran for All Fallen 2018 first responders, and I actually completed that as well. So on my first year, I ran for All Fallen first responders in 2018 and 2019. So, that's like double the amount I've been doing the last 2 years. So that first year was a busy year, but I got through it. And after I got through that year, I knew, okay, that was the busiest year I'll ever have. Now I can just focus on 1 year only, and I think I can be able to do it. So in 2020, I ran for everybody in 2020. And then this year, I'm running for everybody in 2021. I'm right now averaging 400 miles every single year. That's also an average of 400 first responders every single year, officers and firefighters. It's unfortunate, but I love being able to do these miles, let people learn that there's a lot more first responders passing away than you would think. And we need to always thank our first responders whenever we see them. Another thing, we also have 2 sister nonprofits called Running for Heroes Canine and Running for Heroes Military. Both of these people that run these pages were inspired by Running for Heroes. Running for Heroes Canine is owned by a little girl. She's only 9 years old, just like when I started. She runs for every fallen canine who lives their life in line of duty, officer canines and military canines. We actually just went to Houston. Another reason why we went there is because she presented her first ever canine vest in the Freeport Police Department. Oh. And then we also have a woman in her 30s. She runs the military page. She's on our board of directors. She runs for military by request and military in the line of duty from the United States. So we plan to do even more in the future for sister nonprofits, but I love being able to see other kids, like canines, other people in general, like military, coming out and supporting these first responders. Even though it may be a sister nonprofit, I really love seeing the support to go extra and beyond just being a supporter. So we definitely have an amazing team. And like you said, I've been doing this since 2019, but I also did run for 2018 Heroes. So even though I've had a busy few years, I'm glad to be doing this. And believe it or not, I still have lots of time to enjoy relaxing and just having a great day in general. If you get used to it, you'll realize you don't need to have all day long to relax. You only need a few hours and you can go do that run. So I love being able to do this, and I'm glad to be on the front line.
So I got another fun question for you. What is your fastest mile that you've run?
So my fastest mile is 5 minutes and 53 seconds. So just, imagine 7 laps around that track with that picture you saw earlier, 7 laps around there in 5:50. So I had to full on sprint. I didn't run with the flag that run. I used to run for just fun and practice and time to see where I was at. I literally had to sprint that whole time. I was so tired afterwards, but I was so proud that I got that time. But my fastest 5K is 21:14. That's, I think, like 7 minute per mile. So that's quite fast. I had to do quite a fast jog to get that. I'm a fast kid, Believe it or not, you may not notice it, but I actually have gained a little bit of weight since last year. So I think the fastest I can do is 6 minutes. You probably never noticed I gained any weight, but I was like very skinny last year, so I was able to run very fast. But I'm still able to run very fast. I'm still very healthy, and I think I'm a great person to do this run because I'm able to do all these runs if there's a need. But one day I do hope that I never have to run again, at least for this specific reason, because that means that no first responders will lose their life.
Yeah, I think so many of us are hoping that same thing. You mentioned the weight. I didn't necessarily see the weight, but I looked at this particular picture and I was like, man, he's got taller in the last 2 years.
Yeah, so I think both of those pictures, actually, if you see the other one too, my hairstyle is a lot different than it is now. I used to have a shave cut when I started, so I think those are about 2 years ago when I just started. So you can get a perspective of when I first started this nonprofit, and now you can look at me right here and see how much I've grown. Yeah. I sounded a lot different back then. I still sounded like a little kid when I was 10 years old. I've definitely grown since I've started this. Which also means that I'll start being known as a young man instead of a cute kid running, because lots of people say, oh, it's so cute how you're so young and you're able to do this. But as I get older, they won't really realize I've been doing this since I was 10. So I always try to be as polite and the best as possible, because I still am 12, even though lots of people say I sound a lot older than that and I act a lot older than that. I do have to tell them, though, when I'm at the house after I'm off this, when I'm just being a kid, I'm still a kid at heart. So I argue my parents times, when they tell me to get off my electronics, I'm like, oh man, I'm still like a kid at heart. So, it can be a little bit difficult at the house, but I think every kid's like that. So it also just shows you that I also am a 12-year-old. I'm not just, polite and respectful, even though I still am a 12-year-old at heart. So I really try my best to be the best as possible. And I really try to inspire other kids my age that they can do something in the world just by having an idea and just by going out there. Because all I really did, I'm not saying this is all that we did, because my dad and my family have done a lot of stuff to get this nonprofit to where it was at. But all I had was an idea. I picked up a flagpole and I started running. And I just had an idea I wanted to pick up on. So I want to inspire other kids to know, if you have a good family supporting you and you have a great idea, you can lift it off and you can do amazing stuff in the world.
Well, that right there is probably the perfect thing to say to get people to understand. Again, a lot of times we think that we need all these resources, we need financing and all these different things. But it's what you said, it's the idea and then really just putting it into action. And you have been such a great example for that. So I got one more question for you because I was actually, when I was going through and picking up these pictures, I saw one where I think you were at the law enforcement memorial in Washington D.C. Did you visit there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There's lots of different statues that look just like that for police weeks and stuff.
Okay.
I've been to Washington D.C., but only on layovers. To get on flights. I haven't gone to Washington D.C. yet, but once COVID-19 lets up, we're going to be going to police weeks the second it's done. We were actually planning on going to police weeks this week. So once COVID-19 lets up, which it actually is letting up, which is incredible, we hope to go to police weeks, and that would be a very emotional but amazing experience.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think for you, again, because you're learning about these officers and you're making this run, you're praying for them, and to go to the national monument in DC, I think will be it'll have a huge impact on you because you'll see the names of all these different officers that you've run for. And I unfortunately, there's about 6 officers who I personally know that are on that wall. So and I visited, and every time I go to DC, I visit there. So it is definitely an emotional piece, but I think it's something that you'll absorb that, and it probably will just bring out more of a fire or a passion inside of you for what you're doing. But Zechariah, I got to tell you, it's been a pleasure to be here with you. Like I said, I've already donated to you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to support Running for Heroes and what Zechariah is doing and what he's doing for the law enforcement community, you can go to runningforheroes.org to make your donation right there. He is helping so many different families all across the country that are going through a difficult time. So again, for that, Zechariah, thank you so very much. And do you have anything that you would like to close out with?
I just want to thank you for talking to me today. I appreciate everybody with the can you remember the podcast is called again?
Greatness Ignited.
I want to thank everybody with the Greatness Ignited for letting me come on here today. Mr. Barry, you're a great person. I really appreciate everything that you've done for first responders. I really appreciate your service. I really appreciate everything you're doing after your retirement as a police officer. It means so much for me to be here. I would love to come back whenever you want to come see me back on the show. I really appreciate all of you, and I just hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you so much, Zechariah. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we have heard it, I want to say out of the mouths of babes, but this is a 12-year-old, but this is a 20-year-old in a 12-year-old body that's doing some amazing things. So if you're not inspired, I don't know how you can't be. I mean, just an amazing kid. Like I said, I've been watching him for the last 2 years, and every time I go to his channel, I'm just more and more impressed. So that's the other thing that I would definitely tell you to do. Go to the Facebook page, and it's Running for Heroes, and honestly, go there on a daily basis and just get a daily dose of inspiration from Zechariah. So thank you for joining us here today, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, the struggle is real, but so is your greatness.
Ignite your greatness, take a leap of faith and you'll make it. Wanna live life to the fullest, you gotta be hardworking and patient. You got the fire within you, you got a dream that you should be chasing. Pushing through to the finish line and you got no time to be wasting, yeah. Ignite your greatness, take a leap of faith and you'll make it.